Gentlemen, good to see you.
Doing good. How are y'all doing?
We're doing good.
Very good. Good stuff. How we let's just kick it off. Let's get into something real quick. I mean, y'all got to be feeling pretty good about your Chargers, right?
I was caught off guard. We were getting brought on right after being told to bet against us covering the spread. Right after.
It's perfect timing. High scoring game.
I don't know if that favors the Giants too well because, I mean, you look at the Chargers offense, obviously they got a lot of firepower going on right now, but like the Giants' best path to victory, or at least keeping it close Sunday this week, is probably their pass rush getting home against that Chargers O-line, which is a little banged up right now.
Yeah, hey, that Chargers defense, there's been potential there for a minute, especially with Derwin James, but that defense is looking as good as it ever has with Derwin James, it feels like. And I mean, it's not the easiest. What I'm saying is it's not the easiest first game for Jackson Dart. I think he will elevate the offense. And Iman's point about Russell Wilson's like eyes going straight to the ground way too early, just getting rid of that type of quarterbacking should be a huge upgrade to the offense. But it's going to be a challenge. That defense is playing pretty hot right now.
I think it's funny because there's a non-zero chance that Jackson Dart is playing against his future head coach this week with Jesse Minter scheming up for Jackson Dart this week. Obviously, Jesse Minter has had his guys ready to go all year, and Jackson Dart is someone that I'd imagine they've watched actually extensively because of their Trey Harris acquisition in the offseason. Naturally, I think you watch that Ole Miss offense, you see Trey Harris, you see Jackson Dart, and I think it'll be fun to see what Jesse Minter has planned because it's very weird as a Chargers fan to see your team being the guys that do you really want to start a rookie quarterback against those guys when you have this team on the horizon? It's funny to see, like, I don't know, we're not used to that, to say the least.
Devin Jasso, Sidelinr Sports Chargers writer right there. That was good stuff. Ben, how are you feeling about the team? Ben, we got the Chargers fan on here. And what we're going to actually do with Ben, too, is you can first tell us how you feel about the Chargers, but then we're going to let you rip into a minute monologue is what we called in the past. And you're going to go, you got 60 seconds. I'm starting to watch, and I'm going to throw a flag if you dare go over.
Okay, sounds good.
You get 60 seconds to rip it on whatever you need to. Chargers, I think you're going to go Justin Herbert, and then the rest of us will come in. We'll add our feedback, our color commentary on what you got. So, one, how we feeling about those Chargers?
Yeah, I mean, they've been real fun to watch this year. This game coming up, I mean, they're 3-0, but this is legitimately a trap game. I mean, like Devin was saying, that front seven is insane for the Giants. You got a patchwork line for the Chargers, even though like guys are playing great. Like with all those injuries, that is scary. And their offense, they got a rookie QB coming in. You guys talked about Scattaboo and Neighbors. Like they got young, hungry guys. Like this is not going to be an easy win. I mean, that could be an upset. I mean, I trust the Chargers they're well coached right now, so I trust them to ride their stars and get to that win. But I don't think it's definitely not this easy win that a lot of people are probably expecting when they're betting on this game. So it should be a lot of fun, honestly.
I think the Chargers are going to try to get after Dart's ass.
Yeah.
I think they're going to try to get after him. We make a young guy uncomfortable. So maybe I should pick up the Chargers tight end in fantasy or something. A lot of dump offs or something like that. I do have Amarian Hampton, and I'm very excited about. No, I'm not. I'm not excited about Najee Harris' injury, but very excited about Amarian Hampton's opportunity as a fantasy owner. So very excited. All right, Ben, 60 seconds starting. When I say so, about Justin Herbert, is that what you're doing? Justin Herbert,
right
now?
I want to talk a little bit about Justin Herbert. Yeah,
Justin Herbert, minute monologue from Ben S. Chargers fan. Ready, set, go.
We've got some false narratives going on about Justin Herbert that I need to clear up. First things first, he's called not a winner. He's called not ready for the moment. We're always talking about his playoff jokes. He's got 2 losses in the playoffs. The first one was not him. It wasn't his best game, but it also wasn't a bad game. I went back and watched the game recently. They had no run game. They talk about the 27-point blown lead. You got to be able to run the ball to milk the clock. The defense didn't step up and get stops. He's throwing in the second half. They're not milking clock. He really didn't play that bad. Not much separation. Second game, we'll give it to you 4 interceptions, but I'm just so tired of people not looking at context, why those interceptions happened. 2 of those were tipped. One of them was a garbage time throw you have to make when you're down a lot to try to get back into it. The first one was terrible. I won't defend that. I just think we go out of context and we say he's not a winner. He's finally got winning coaches. He's finally got players that can keep up with him a bit. He's looking better. You got people saying, hey, he's stepping up. He's finally an MVP candidate. He's been this guy all
Finish
along.
it up. Oh, there we go. Hey, good
He's
timing.
been this guy all along.
That was good timing. Good timing. You were just at the 60-second mark. All right. That was a good one. Hey, I appreciate the thought going into that. All right, Devin, as the senior sideliner Chargers correspondent, what do we got here?
Regarding any Justin Herbert discourse, it's always going to be very narrative based, pushing narratives and so on and so forth, because he's reached a point where his name is so polarizing, where you're either on one side of the fence or you're on the total opposite side of the fence. So, I mean, we saw it before the season with Ryan Clark talking when the lights are at their brightest. He's a loser. He can't perform at that upper echelon. And I think that the narrative about him is only going to get more extreme as the season goes on, because now the expectations have shifted. 3 weeks ago, there was talks about him being a someone who doesn't perform at the brightest lights and so on and all of these things. And now 3 weeks later, we're talking about him like an MVP frontrunner. And so it's just funny how the narrative can shift so fast, especially in the NFL. What is interesting to me about any Herbert discourse is that he's not doing anything right now that he hasn't done for the last 4 years at this point.
Yep.
Whether it's the impressive throw against Denver this week, whether it's protecting the football, his pocket management, elevating the people around him, all of these things, he's done it all throughout the year, or throughout his entire career. The only difference is now he's winning games because his defense isn't allowing north of 24 a game. I think it's interesting how much winning does change everything, because like I said, he's not doing anything different. This is who Justin Herbert has been now for the last 3+ years. And it is interesting. You mentioned the winning coaches and the culture that they've built around. I've accredited Jesse Minter so much in the past couple of years or the past year and a half for what he's done, because this defense is now a top 5 unit consistently. As long as they can start rattling off turnovers, they're going to be a top 5 consensus unit. And if Justin Herbert has a top 5 defense, he's going to win 11, 12, 13 games every year, just like he probably would have the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, Brandon Staley criminally did that defense criminally wrong. I'm sure that's just like that name just boils y'all's blood.
Brandon Staley made people think Derwin James was over the hill, which that's impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's like the Joe Barry running Green Bay. He wasted some seriously talented defenses with just dog water play calling and coordination. But you're right. And I think some of the narratives around Herbert in the past there's been some to it. But I think the biggest thing here is that, look, you're right. It's not like he's coming out. He looks like a new guy this season. This is a new Justin Herbert. You're right. I mean, he is the same Justin Herbert. He hasn't been in the best offensive situations in the past. And from an offensive line perspective, he's not in the best situation this year. He's the third most sacked, or I think he's the third most sacked quarterback per game. He's been sacked 10 times. Only 4 guys have been sacked more than him this season. He's got the most first down throws in the NFL, and he doesn't have the most attempts. He's got a lot of attempts. He's averaging 8 yards an attempt. He's got the most pass yards in the NFL. Like, he's got 6 touchdowns, doesn't lead there, but only 1 pick. He's having a really nice season. And the weapons, I think, are Keenan Allen balling out in an old age. That's helping a lot. Lab McConkey, he can just get open. Stats haven't been there. And Trey Harris, I really like that cat out there. I think he's got a lot. And then Quentin Johnson finally is catching footballs.
That's the one thing that I kind of think Justin Herbert is overrated. I'm going to say that off top. And I'm a rebuttal y'all saying MVP, relax. Because if y'all want a top 5 defense, the past few MVPs, the Bills haven't had it with Josh Allen. The Ravens haven't had it with Lamar Jackson. So if he's going to be MVP, y'all can't say he needs a top 5 defense to be that. He's going to have to do that. But I do respect him by believing in Quentin Johnston. I would have never threw that guy the ball this year. Never. His first 2 years were fucking awful. So I just respect Herbert by believing in him and feeding him. And now his confidence is up. And he's really playing like the guy y'all thought he was going to be when you drafted him a couple years ago. So
it started like
on that. Yeah, but that MVP, y'all got to kind of relax, because the MVP carries the team. Don't need a defense. Don't need special team. MVPs carry the team.
But
that's all I'm saying.
But if you go into the Super Bowl with not like a top defense, you're probably not winning the Super Bowl.
I mean, the last couple MVPs usually fizzle out in the postseason due to that fact. they don't got something.
Y'all said MVP, not me. Y'all said front runner for MVP.
I said the narrative around him right now, you got people throwing him in MVP talks. There's a lot that can change. We are only in week 3. I think to your point about Quentin Johnson, the last article that I just published, the first headline as far as takeaways from the first 3 weeks was the Quentin Johnson breakout is finally here. And part of that is that, that never-ending belief that Justin Herbert has had in him. I mean, we've come a long way from, in Austin, you probably watched this game, we've come a long way from that drop at Lambeau Field in Green Bay that lost them the game. We've come a long way from that. I think it does come down to Justin Herbert, getting his confidence up as much as he has. And it really does come down to Jim Harbaugh as well. You talk about belief in the guys in your locker room. I don't think anyone has instilled that quite like Harbaugh has. I think a really good example of that is the preseason when you saw what Trey Lance was able to do. You want to talk about looking like a new guy? Like that little belief can turn some careers around when it comes to people that are supremely talented. And me and my brother were talking about this earlier this year when we watched the Kansas City game. Quentin Johnson's the best athlete on the field 9 times out of 10. He is.
Oh, yeah. That's what he was drafted to be, yeah.
He's drafted because he was a freak athlete. And the one thing that I really have credit for, and I can't believe I'm giving credit to Greg Roman because he drives me up a wall sometimes, but he has really done a good job of utilizing Quentin's strengths. And you look at the run after catch ability, he's able to stretch the field with less complex routes. He really has done a good job of capitalizing on what Quentin Johnson's really good at. And we're not asking him to do, you're not expecting him to go one-on-one and break someone off with a comeback route. You're not expecting him to be that high point contested catch guy. You're asking him to do what he's really good at. And right now that's rack and stretching the field and all these things. And you got Ladd for the separation. You got Keenan for the big time third down conversions. And this receiver room is kind of all gelling together because they're all just being utilized to their strengths for sure.
Ben, what do you got to say on the matter?
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge thing for QJ's breakout this year is they're not having to force him to do things he can't, He still has like some kind of rough catching mechanics at times, right? But like when you've got Ladd as like people are talking about how disappointing he's been, but that's just because defenses are focusing so much on him, right? Like he's such an amazing route runner. He's so good with the ball after the catch that you have to worry about that. And now that Keenan's back, he's comfortable in the offense. You got a guy who you do just expect to make the play every time. That opens up QJ to just be a freak athlete. And, like he's still going to have some drops this year. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. That's going to happen because that's always happened to him. But I think the good is just going to outweigh the bad because he's finally got this unit around him. And something that Herbert's good at is he goes to who's open. He does. Obviously, everybody has their favorites. But I don't think he just force feeds a guy just because that guy's better. Like, how many targets did Oronde Gadsden just have? And like he was a game time scratch 2 weeks ago, and now he's giving him the ball because he's open. Like that's just what Herbert does. He looks for those guys. So I like that we're adding context to stuff like this here. Are you guys Packers and Cowboys fans? Am I right on that?
Well,
I'm a Ravens fan. Yeah.
Ravens. I don't know where I got Cowboys from.
Okay.
No, he's ex-Cowboy. He's ex-Cowboys.
He's a reformed Cowboys fan?
Yeah, I'm divorced. 2 years divorced.
I think you guys could appreciate that, though, looking at the fact, like, Aaron Rodgers in his prime is always getting dogged for only having one ring. And when you add context to it, it's like he wasn't playing bad. He just didn't have the supporting cast around him. The year he did, that was the one year he had an awesome defense, right? Like that's the one
2010.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looking at the Ravens.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. And just looking at the Ravens, you look at Lamar. I mean, there's a reason he's an MVP. He's had to carry a lot of things, and I think a lot of times people hold that against him. Now this year, I think he might have the scariest supporting cast he's got. That stuff matters so much. Like QBs attribute to wins more than anyone, but wins to me still aren't a QB stat because you got 22 starters out there, right? So like we need to add that context. That's why I appreciate that we're doing this here, and that's kind of where my rant came from. Is like I think Herbert gets labeled as not a winner, but it's like now that we're seeing him win, people are like, "Oh, cool, he made that step up." And to me, I'm like, he's just always been there. He's just got it around him better, So
yeah,
that full team matters. That's why I picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl this year. I think this is the scariest team they've had. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong there, but
Well,
That was a preseason pick, by the way. So I know they
Yeah,
didn't look
that's
so
fair.
hot the last 2 weeks, but
and
that was a preseason
you
pick.
look like you might could play some defense. We might need you out there because that shit we can't stop a nosebleed. So
Let's
I'm
go.
a little scary. And our top 5 paid players are on 5 of the 6 top highest paid is on defense, and we look trash the other day. So I mean, but once you have a scary offense, when you can score in a matter of 45 seconds, I'll take that. But now I think Lamar is trying to, and the same thing with Justin Herbert. They're feeling like they got to make every play. So sometimes they hold on to the ball too long. They force passes they shouldn't. So, hopefully, yeah, but it's about the Chargers because I'm pissed off about the Ravens. But we'll see. Listen, I think y'all are impressing me every day that Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches to ever coach. I mean, at every
Yep.
level he's won, he knows how to just get a team going. He's a culture builder. He's a players coach. So I just think that's a big part of the Chargers doing well because they love paying for that guy. So Mr. Khakis, but listen, y'all looking scary. We're gonna see. We're
I
gonna
was
see.
gonna say the biggest thing for me is Harbaugh's come in there and turned that ship around like it needed. They had bad leadership. I'm a big believer in problems start from the top, and I'm getting rid of Staley. It was obviously a huge turnaround, and I was going to finish this off now with where do you guys see the Chargers? Also, the Aaron Rodgers thing, great analogy because those defenses in Rodgers' prime were always just dog shit, unwatchable defenses. Like, yeah, we just got to win every game by scoring 40 points. That just doesn't happen. No matter all the
Especially not in the
dogs
playoffs.
yeah, exactly. Against teams with really good defense. It's crazy how we never won one, right? And then it's just like the smallest little mistake becomes a massive thing. Like one fumble could change the game because your defense can't do a damn thing. So yeah, I appreciate that one because it brings back dark places for me. All right, so where do the Chargers finish this season? Where are we thinking? How far are they going? Ben, we'll let you start.
I mean, I definitely think they've got the legs to make some sort of a run, but like the trenches matter so much. It's just hard to see. The second Rashawn Slater went out, like there was kind of the overreaction, like, oh great, season's gone, right? Like everyone's kind of
He's that
predicting him,
important.
like, yeah, he is, and like so, I think a lot of people went from being like, I think they could push for winning the division to being like, hopefully they just make the playoffs at this point. The way they're moving, it's nice. The last game they finally started getting their run game going a little more.
Yep.
It sucks that Najee went out, but like that's going to be needed once again in the playoffs. I talked about that with their loss to the Jags. Like all respect to Eckler, he was a shifty guy. He was a great receiver. To me, I just never saw him as like a big pure runner. You got to have that in the playoffs, especially you get a lead. We milk and clock or not, we got to do that. So I think they're winning a playoff game for sure this year. I think they could make a deep run, but if I'm just being like an NFL guy and not like a homer right here, I think they win a game or two. I think the AFC Championship would probably be like their peak this year, but I think more than likely they win a game or two, and I'd be happy with that. Get some people off Herbert's back a little bit about not being able to win.
I
So,
think
but
that's
Devin
fair.
probably knows a lot more about what's going on. So.
I could see that. That seems reasonable.
Yeah, I'm much more pessimistic than I should be watching a 3-0 Chargers team. Considering the last time they were 3-0, I was a month old.
Damn.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's just tough because they have the quarterback, they have the coach, and I feel like they have the staff. But at the end of the day, I don't know if they have the talent. I wrote in my last article that like the bare minimum right now, based off how this season has gone, is you have to win this division. With everything has unfolded the way it is, the Chiefs have a tough draw with Baltimore this week, and just at the end of the day, you have a very winnable Week 4 game. Now, Ben alluded to this earlier. It is a prime trap game with how good the Giants are with their pass rush. I still don't know if the secondary will be able to hold up, and I think the Chargers will be able to exploit that. But as far as season-long goals go, you got to win a playoff game. You can win the division. You can do all this in the regular season. You have to win a playoff game for people to really buy into what this can be going forward. I'm a firm believer that with 10 at the helm, they can win any football game they are in. It's just what it is. But being extremely realistic and looking at it black and white, the best teams in the NFL have strong O-line and a strong pass rush. And the Chargers have neither of those.
Yeah.
Mekhi Becton can stay healthy throughout the season. That O-line is passable in the playoffs. If Khalil Mack is able to come back and be healthy, the pass rush still leaves a little bit to desired, but it's passable in the playoffs. But when you start having to travel to Arrowhead hopefully you won't have to travel to Arrowhead come postseason, but when you start having to go to Buffalo in January, that's a tough game to win no matter how good you are, but you have to be much more talented than them across the board, and I just don't think they are at that point yet. I'd like to see the secondary be a little better going forward. I think they got bailed out in week 3 by Bo Nix missing a couple throws. I'd like to see the pass rush start to get home at some point, whether it's a Caleb Murphy or a Kyle Kennard finally figuring it out. I know it's early in their careers, whether it's Khalil Mack and Thule getting on the same page a couple weeks from now. I just don't think they have the horses and the firepower to really make any serious noise. It kind of feels like Miami the last couple of years, where like you see flashes, but you don't buy them as a real contender.
I can see them if they go to the trade deadline in a really good spot. Hey, I could see Trey Hendrickson. I could see that type of move happen if they're if they're at a good spot, right? I mean, even if it's just a rental, I think what you said is point. They need to make a jump this season. They need to do something. At bare minimum, they better win the division. If they don't win the division, they better win a game in the playoffs. But if they're in a good spot come trade deadline, I can see the Chargers being one of those teams making a splash move to get them over the top. Whether it's that O-line, which who knows on a trade for a star O-lineman, but like a Trey Hendrickson perhaps, there's going to be pass rushers and secondary guys that you can go out and get and really do something crazy for your defense. And I can see the Chargers being that team, but I think one game is reasonable. I think this team they seem like a team with a good defense can help you win playoff games. And they got enough going on offense where with that defense being what it is right now, if it maintains that way, that's a team that can win a playoff game. The O-line, but like you said, that's going to have to hold up because, hey, we saw what happened to my Packers. It doesn't matter how good your O-line is. If you face a really good D-line and they just beat you in the trenches that day, things can go really, really south. So you better be going into those type of games in a good spot or, like Iman said on Monday, cancel Christmas. But, yeah. All right, Ben, Devin, thank you so much for coming on and talking some Chargers ball with us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. Great rant. Good discussion on Herbert and the Chargers, and best to you boys against the Giants this week.
Thank you, sir.
All right, see y'all.
See you guys.